What's up? What's up? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back for another stream of finance news, money, stocks, crypto, and real estate. So just getting set up over here, making sure everything is running smoothly. Got to see what this. Oh, there we go. All right, let me pause that. All right, yeah. So we got a pretty interesting segment today. We're going to be covering quite a bit of stuff. Obviously, the biggest news that came out of finance land was all about Trump's tariffs and kind of what the impact would be on Americans and the stock market. Only for things to change kind of last minute, which is a little surprising, but also not too surprising. But we're going to cover all of that. Then, we're going to move into kind of pulling up one surprising article about something we covered last week in last week's stream, DeepSeek. So we'll be covering some of that stuff. And then we'll move on into real estate and commercial real estate. And then at the very end, we'll have some laughs talking about, some lost corn. All right. Hey, Jeff Welch, welcome back, man. Welcome back. Thanks for joining. All right, so let's get into this. Bro, I sent an invoice on Friday, just followed up today. Should go through time now. Sheesh, I'm bursting. Okay. All right. All right, guys. All right, let's get started. Okay, so this was the latest news today, right? U.S. is going to delay tariffs on Canada, right? So the whole point of these tariffs, according to President Trump, is basically because all these countries, including China, which I'm a little surprised about, including China, was the inflow of fentanyl into the United States, right? So we're not going to talk too much about politics or domestic policy or anything like that, but we do want to at least cover this piece because it can affect the stock market. So anyways, basically the U.S. had placed these tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, which are our three biggest trade partners. And then shortly after the announcement, it seemed that there was a bunch of calls made and a bunch of demands that were met, because basically the United States wants Canada to basically beef up the border, beef up their border to prevent fentanyl from coming into the United States. So U.S. will delay Canada tariffs as countries work on beefing up border security. And basically, this is all the same. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Monday the U.S. will pause its plan to impose tariffs on Canada, outlining an agreement to bolster border supervision. All right, they're going to wait for 30 days to make sure, that they follow through on their promise, or at least hopefully a plan. And then that will prevent, the, 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and a 10% tariff on energy, which obviously would have been also bad for the United States, for normal people like you and I, because, now the costs of goods and services are going to go up. So this was good. This was a welcome thing. All right. We also have we also have Mexico. U.S. to delay tariffs on Mexico after Mexico agrees to deploy 10,000 border troops, right? Again, a lot of the fentanyl is coming from, the southern border as well, from cartels basically shipping that stuff in. So the U.S. just wants, more beefy border security. So they're using, the U.S. has struck a deal basically with Mexico to have Mexico deploy 10,000 border troops to prevent that, but also probably to prevent the whole migrant crisis that's happening south of the border. And again, guys, not to get political in here. All right, we're just talking about stuff. We're just talking about what's going on. All right, and how this can affect the stock market. All right, the Trump administration will delay imposing tariffs on Mexican goods imported into the U.S. after Mexico on Monday said it will rush thousands of troops to prevent drug trafficking at the border shared by the countries. All right, so again, this is all to prevent fentanyl to come into the States, which has been wreaking havoc on the U.S. population. Basically, it's a very highly addictive drug. So had these tariffs actually been, actually passed, had these tariffs actually been implemented, we already saw it at the beginning of the day. The stock market was red, right? And it was trending downwards. And it looks like there was news that broke that we're going to put a pause for 30 days. And then that kind of shot the market back up a bit. All right. Oh, PMI. Yeah. You mentioned Panama. Absolutely. I heard about Panama. But Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. Remind me at the very end of the stream, and we'll talk about Panama because that is an interesting thing. It's more geopolitical than finance news related, but it is interesting nonetheless. I definitely would love to cover that. All right, so moving on, we see that Trump's to speak with China's Xi after hiking tariffs. White House says U.S. President Donald Trump will speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping as soon as this week. Trump's spokesperson said, setting up a major diplomatic exchange as the two world's largest economies seek a deal that could avert a broader trade war. Again, China's one of our bigger trade partners, right? And putting tariffs on them, would have definitely affected a lot of the companies that operate in the United States, especially when it comes to, those Dollar General stores, those really low cost of goods types of stores, that obviously many Americans depend on. There's no shortage of companies in the United States that rely on Chinese imported goods, whether it's clothes, food, manufactured goods, paper plates, forks, doesn't matter. You can go into any Target, any Walmart, look at the back, and you'll see that this product was made in China. All right, so putting a 20 or a 10% or 25% tariff on these goods would only cause the prices of those goods to increase over time. So again, that would be horrible for, everyday life. But, they're apparently they've halted that for now. They're going to speak, the two presidents, and they're going to figure out, I guess a plan. But I didn't know this, but apparently there is a line in here. Yeah, the U.S. has said that China is the primary source of the precursor chemicals synthesized into fentanyl by drug cartels in Mexico. China says it has taken significant steps to crack down on the chemicals and touted measures to cut down on illicit drug trade. So again, very, very interesting that this is happening. Trump did promise, I didn't highlight this, but Trump did promise 60% tariffs on Chinese goods. And, they ended up getting, like 15 or 10 or 20. So again, not that bad, but thankfully that was put off to the side for now. All right. So what's up, G bro? Hey, welcome back. Thanks for watching. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover, guys. A lot of stuff to cover. So how did the markets react? How did the stock market react? How did everybody take this news, right? Well, we're going to start with our, always our barometer, our weather gauge, the S&P 500. Okay. So initially they did have a dip upon, market, on the market opening. And I'm assuming around 1020 is when the news broke that they were going to halt the tariffs, which, basically made the stock market recover. All right. So, but all in all, I guess down for the full day, they're still down, I guess 0.76%. So Jeff Welch says the Mexican tariffs have been lifted. Only one still in place are Canada. So Jeff, you might have missed that part, but Canada has actually been delayed as well. So right now they're still delayed. Everything, all the tariffs across the board are delayed at this moment. As far as the latest current news that I have. This article was published at 5:22 p.m. your guys' time, Eastern Standard Time. So if there is a newer article than this, I haven't seen it. But anyways, moving on. So we have the S&P 500 that had basically a red day. The NASDAQ 100 also reacted the same exact way. Went down at first, news broke, and I'm guessing then it recovered after that, right? So, but they still had a decent down day. Hey, no worries, brother. Appreciate the comment though. I need you guys to watch my back and make sure I'm not, I'm not missing anything. But thank you. So for real estate, for REITs, they also took a dive. They took a pretty decent dive because a lot of goods come from Mexico and Canada that go into home construction, that go into property construction, that just go into construction for real estate. So, if we kept those tariffs, that would have caused the price of lumber to go up, the cost of plastics, wiring, copper, all that stuff to go up. And that would make housing even more expensive, new construction of housing even more expensive. And I should probably include this in maybe the next stream or something like that. But there is like a home builders index. And these are all the major companies that build homes, that build, develop large communities. And it would, I'll try to find something like that, but there is one that exists. I just don't know what it is at this moment. But if they're having a lot of pressure, these home builders, then you can bet that housing shortages are going to continue well into the future, because the U.S. is having a housing shortage, whether we want to admit it or not. There's just not enough housing for everybody, right? There are people that want to buy homes, but they can't because mortgage rates are so high, so they have to rent, right? They're going to rent a home, or they're going to live in a multifamily apartment complex, or maybe they're going to live in a mobile home park of some sort, right? Or some other housing, which leads me to my last segment, which is very, very interesting, and you'll definitely want to keep an eye on. All right, but how did gold react, right? We're going to use the gold ETF, GLD, as kind of our weather gauge here. It actually did really well at first, right? It spiked up quite a bit. Gold spiked. And then it just kind of, again, news broke out, and I'm guessing it just kind of tumbled back down, right? The same thing happened with the dollar. The dollar, right? The US dollar increased substantially, and then it just kind of like evened out afterwards. So again, we're implementing the tariffs, the dollar spiked, and then, found out that no, just kidding. We're not going to be putting tariffs. We're going to work this out. And then it just kind of dropped after that. So, all in all, the markets, pretty much everything kind of went back to baseline. It wasn't really too much of a bad day, I would say, just based on kind of the charts. It looks like everything just kind of went back to normal. And I'm sort of not surprised by that, or I wouldn't say unsurprised, but I guess it was surprising to hear or to know that these countries reacted, that this whole thing was about border security. That's what I was really surprised about. I knew, in the back of my mind, these countries, they don't want to have tariffs placed on them, right? They don't. Nobody wants that, right? Especially the American people. But Trump is using this, our current administration is using this as kind of a leverage, as kind of a tool to indirectly threaten these countries, like, hey, you need to do more. And by doing that, these countries, finally got the hint, like, oh crap, he's being serious. Okay, we'll help with the illicit drug trade and, basically to stop fentanyl from coming into the United States. I know, fentanyl is kind of I know it is a really big problem. There's no shortage of YouTube videos that can show the damaging effects of it, and it's very sad. But I didn't know that, China had a part in all of this. That was new. I didn't know that it was flooding in from Canada, so that was new. But yeah, I mean, interesting to see, the geopolitics behind tariffs and how it all really works. And then basically how a sitting U.S. president is using this as a tool in his tool belt to get other large, countries to basically help out, and not just leave it to the United States to figure out. So obviously, when we're thinking about finances, when we're thinking about stock markets, we always want to know what's going on in the broader sense, because it is presidential policy, monetary policy that's going to drive kind of the results of what's going to happen in the stock market. We see that. And I'm going to be releasing this video here momentarily after the stream, but it's for AI. And in the video, I talk about how, Donald Trump, how this current administration is so favorable to the AI industry. And if you really want to get in on some AI ETFs or take advantage of the AI, play or thesis, this is going to be the best time to do it, especially because you have full government support. Like, that is a big thing, but they are influencing policy. They are or really deregulating policy, which is going to cause a lot of these companies, these tech companies, to be able to innovate, create more jobs, grow, and this is obviously going to be reflected in the stock market. So could this be a bubble? That's going to be for a much later time. We don't know if this is going to be a bubble, like another 2000, 2001, tech bubble. But for now, getting behind AI would definitely be, a very viable play for the long term. All right, let's take a look at some of the chats we got. PMI says, we rolling now, Jeff. That's what I'm talking about. G-Bro, appreciate it, man. I try to stay on top of stuff. Not always, though, but I try. Let's see. House. Got it. Hey, yeah, guys, smash that like button if you're getting some value from this, all right, from this stream. Please smash that like button. I really, really do appreciate it. It's a wealthy life. Hey Dan, what's up, man? It's wild day. Did you see Palantir? I did. Palantir, we can cover that. You know what? Let me put a little note here. Uh yeah, let me make a little note here to cover Palantir. I'll do it at the end of the stream. Yeah, I'll do it at the I got to look at that, and I also have to talk about Panama, which is very very interesting. All right. So, anyways, let's move on. There was some news that came out about DeepSeek that I did not really know. And I know my camera is like my face over here is cutting off some of the words, so I apologize. But basically, DeepSeek hardware spend could be as high as $500 million, according to a new report from basically a watch group, a new report from Semi-Analysis. All right, so a new report from Semi-Analysis estimates that DeepSeek's hardware is well higher than 500 million. So the whole point of DeepSeek and the reason why it riled the living hell out of the markets was because they came out and said, look, we just built basically ChatGPT for $6 million, right? Or for $7 million. And it took hundreds of millions of dollars to build ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and all those other AIs, right? It took a ton of money, research and development to make these AIs, right? And China comes out of left field and is like, no, we just made one and we're going to open source it, right? And we're going to make it open source so we can have the community basically develop it. But, you know, on a broader scale of things, I don't know. And I said this in one of my streams, I just don't trust China when it comes to like technology, because I feel like their technology is always monitoring or trying to find a way to get into American, like everyday American lives. And again, I'm not trying to make this political, geopolitical, you know, we don't really cover that stuff on this channel, but you know, again, it's just, I don't know, it's just something in the back of my mind. Like China has banned a lot of, you know, like YouTube, a lot of Facebook, a lot of, you know, other like US based social media platforms because, you know, they're free. They're basically free for public use. And, you know, you can have some people in there that aren't too happy with the current climate over there. I got to be careful with my words. So when the US did that for basically TikTok, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. I know a lot of people are upset that they can't watch dancing videos, but at the same time, in terms of like, you know, national security at a higher level, I could see why. And I got to get off this topic because I can go on and on. Anyways, guys, let's get back to DeepSeek. Let's talk about it. All right, so China's DeepSeek became the biggest topic in tech this week, with many in the industry on Wall Street focused on a single number, $6 million, right? That's what it took to build ChatGPT. So China's entered the chat room, and it's coming with, you know, it's coming big swinging because it came out with a chat, or it came out with an AI to basically challenge the US's dominance in AI. A new report from Semi-Analysis, a semiconductor research and consulting firm, added more context to DeepSeek's expenses. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. There we go. A new report from Semi-Analysis, a semiconductor research and consulting firm, added more context to DeepSeek's expenses. The firm estimated that DeepSeek's hardware spend is well higher than $500 million over the company's history, adding that R&D costs and total cost of ownership are significant. Generating synthetic data for the model to train on would require considerable amounts of compute. So I'm not going to pretend like I know all what all this means, but knowing this number is important because, again, the whole premise of why DeepSeek challenged U.S. AI dominance is because it was built for $6 million. That's it. That was it. But now we're finding, no, it actually cost way, way more. And this is the whole reason why, and I explained this kind of in the AI, the upcoming AI video. The U.S. has been really hammering at halting any chip exports to China to basically prevent them from getting an edge over the United States. So the U.S. wants to maintain that competitive AI dominant edge that it has. And then, of course, you know, you roll into the whole $500 billion worth of investment from, you know, a couple companies and the big partnerships that are forming around AI. So, again, I can go on and on about that stuff, but that was pretty much the article. That was pretty much the article or the point that I wanted to cover here. So let me back out here. All right. So moving into our real estate segment, which is going to be a doozy because this was interesting. And again, this is in alignment with what I've been saying last week on last week's live streams. Commercial real estate distress at $107 billion in quarter four, led by office and multifamily. All right. The amount of distressed commercial real estate assets in the U.S. hit $107 billion. Office accounts for 50%. 50% of that. All right. Offices are office buildings are being hammered. And I've always said this to stay away from office REITs, right? Because this is just not looking too good. Not too good for them. All right. And then just a quick, summary. Office properties continue to dominate the distress. Let me see. I hope you guys can read that. There we go. Office properties continue to dominate the distress landscape with $51 billion in outstanding distress. So we're talking about mortgage loans. We're talking about debt. Basically, these office property operators, they can't pay the bills. So they're doing the whole extend and pretend thing. This represents nearly half of the total U.S. distressed commercial real estate value. Retail follows with $21 billion of distress, while multifamily makes up a third of the largest shares at $17.1 billion. All right, so even multifamily apartment buildings, right? I covered a few of these in last week's stream as well. And I totally forgot to get some articles to support this, but there is a bunch of multifamily operators that lost millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate because they did not know how to operate. They didn't know how the debt markets, basically mortgage, would change over time. They probably took on way too much variable rate, or they used a bridge loan at a very high interest rate, thinking that interest rates were going to stay low, and it never happened. As a matter of fact, rates increased, right? 2 years of rate increases from 2020 into 2021. So that puts you at 2024, of just a very heightened interest rate. That made it very challenging for a lot of these operators. And a lot of investors lost a lot of money. All right. So again, just looking at this from a bigger picture. So even though the interest rate went down from the Federal Reserve, mortgage rates are still high, are still relatively high. So it is always a challenge, especially now. And, there's going to be more pain. For sure, there's going to be more pain in the commercial real estate market. But wherever there's pain, wherever there's chaos, there's opportunity. All right, so always keep that in the back of your mind. All right, what's the bigger threat? While office distress remains a serious concern, the potential distress for multifamily properties is even larger. MSCI, you guys, I'm sure, have seen MSCI in several different shapes and forms. They actually constructed the index, both indexes actually, that FTech, Fidelity's technology fund, and VGT, Vanguard's information tech fund, that they follow or that they model after. So MSCI is way out there. MSCI estimates potential distress in the multifamily sector at $108 billion, which represents a staggering 34.9% of the total potential distress across all asset classes. All right. And remember, I covered what all the asset classes are. You have self-storage, you have multifamily, data centers, you have logistics, warehouses, you have retail, you have farmland, you have triple net lease, you have all these different types of asset classes in real estate. So when people are like, oh, the real estate market's crashing, it's like, yeah, what sector is actually crashing? All right. But we see that the office sector is getting hammered pretty hard, right? So again, covered this last week. Record 71,000 apartments expected from office conversions. Okay, office buildings, in order to help solve some of this housing crisis that we're having in the United States, and to help, basically get some money rolling in from these offices that are completely empty, they're turning these offices into basically living apartments, right? Livable apartments. So they're converting these offices into livable apartments. The number of apartments created through office conversions is setting new records, with nearly 71,000 units in the pipeline for 2025. And just to give you an idea of how large this is, I think multifamily had only, 35,000 for one of the years. Like it wasn't a whole lot. Like they still have to build the properties, but they had it slated for a year. Like that's, and for 71,000 units to be in the pipeline for 2025 alone, this is definitely going to help with the housing shortage. It's a wealthy life. Hey, I just said this. I should be a REIT manager. Yeah. Anyways, by the numbers. All right. So we're going to just take a look down. Since 2022, the pipeline for office apartment conversions has tripled, growing from 23,000 units to 70,000 units in 2025. Now, 2022 to 2025, over 3 years, that is a huge influx of office conversion requests, right? This is a 28% year over year growth, suggests office conversions are now a mainstream solution to the national housing shortage problem. But just because people are requesting it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, because more projects were announced. Only a small fraction are actually completed yearly. In 2024, just 3.7 thousand units were completed, leaving a large carryover of 51.63 thousand units in 2025. The backlog underscores challenges like conversion feasibility, high construction costs, and zoning hurdles. So, whenever you convert these offices, you don't just go in and start installing a bathroom or a shower head or a kitchen. Like, that is not how it works, right? In real estate, when they build a building, right? When they build a housing unit, a building of any sort, right? It's zoned a certain way. And, the zoning is through the municipality or through the city. And they tell you specifically what you can use that piece of land for, right? So if someone wants to build a house, they'll zone it for a house plus maybe one or two other things. And they'll say, okay, it stays like that. Like if you start, it's only for, let's say a single family home. And let's say you just start building another home, right? You start building another house on the property. You're going to have a visit from the inspector that's going to tell you that if you don't tear that down, they're going to start fining you every single day, right? And that could lead to bigger problems. In California, what they did to kind of solve this, they had a bill where you can do what's called ADUs. It's like additional dwelling units. So you could literally rent, like you could have a house, a single family home, or even like a multi-family, like duplex, triplex, quadplex. And then say you had a big backyard, you could literally place a shed back there, hook it up with, lighting, electricity, cook, gas, heat, hot water, all that stuff. And you could turn that little shack into a housing unit. And this was allowable. You could charge rent for that, which was crazy. So you would have, instead of 4 units on that piece of land, now you have 5. So that was, how California tried to curb that whole housing shortage. But yeah, you're going to have zoning, which is a problem. And then again, high construction costs. I mean, this is a no brainer. I mean, everything has risen up in cost. Whenever they plan these conversions, whenever they plan to even build a home, they have a set cost. Right? They have a set cost saying, hey, lumber costs this much, windows cost this much, roof tiles cost this much, everything costs this much. But then they go out to build it 6 or 7 months later. Obviously, the costs have went up by that time, especially based on what's been happening in the economy. If these tariffs went through, this would have definitely put a huge hamper on real estate. So again, something to always be aware of, something to think about. I know none of you guys are probably buying, multi-million-dollar office buildings at this moment, but, in case you do in the future, just, that if you try to convert it to housing, you'll be met with a lot of challenges. All right. And these are just some conversion hotspots. I'm not really surprised New York is at the top of the list. I mean, they have the worst housing shortage, right? I mean, you can look on YouTube and you can see like people are paying like $2,000 or $3,000 or sometimes $4,000 for like a closet that was converted into a living space. Like they will take these 2-bedroom apartments and cut them in half, right? Or not cut them in half, but cut the rooms in half. So now it becomes a 4-unit living like area with 1 bathroom, right? And then everyone has to share. It is crazy how bad it is out there. And people really, they be in the videos like, oh, this is so chic and so nice out here. I'm living in Manhattan. I'm living my best life. Like, you live in a closet. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is not good. Then we have, Washington, D.C. coming in second place. Los Angeles, again, no surprise there. Chicago, no surprise there. Dallas, Atlanta, Georgia. And again, these are all like the major, metropolitan areas. So that's why these are up here. So, but also you have to think and take this into account. New York is nothing but office buildings, right? That's New York City. New York is nothing but office buildings. So they would have the highest conversions because, again, a lot of people are working from home or they're working remote or they're only showing up to the office maybe once or twice a week. All right. So again, you gotta kind of think that way as well. So Los Angeles, again, same thing. Chicago, same thing. So anyways, that will do it for our real estate segment. Again, this is just interesting to see. It's a data point you want to just keep in the back of your mind in case you're thinking about investing in REITs or investing in real estate of any sort. and you hear something like, oh, this is a good deal for office. Just make sure you do your research, look at the bigger picture of things. There's definitely going to be some pain this year for the commercial real estate market, but I am of the camp that things are going to improve dramatically, right? I don't know what the catalyst is yet. I'm still, doing my own research. I'm still reading on stuff, but for the REIT market in particular, there's going to be a huge rebound this year. I think there will be a huge rebound. That doesn't mean go out and start buying REITs. All right, guys. All right. So to end this segment, all right, to end the news segment, and we'll get to some comments, shooting the breeze and just chilling. We got some good old lost corn, okay? Corn like corn on a cob. All right, so this person lost $100,000. Let me see if I can make this bigger. All right, this person lost $100,000 in 16 hours. And here's their position. And this is an old one. All right, old screen. I think it's 2 years old. But again, it's lost corn nonetheless. All right, $131,000. And we come here really because we want to read the comments, right? The comments is what makes this even worth it. All right. I think most of you people need to disable options and forget they exist. 130,000 is a ton of money to gamble. Seriously, I'm gambling today with 1% of that. He gambled my net worth. Please don't kill yourself. Or I should have said, please don't unalive yourself. Let's see. Rip, what's the next play? Was rooting for you. Goddamn, 130,000 on a weekly, so you gotta rent a crane to carry those around. Oh my god. Fox News said so get what you deserve. Man, yeah, look at this. Listen to DGens on here and dumps 100K into weekly and doesn't hedge with anything. Speaking of that, let's take a look at how MSTR is doing, or MSTY. Okay, it looks like it rebounded. All right, that's cool. Cause man, I invested, I don't know, somewhere over here, I guess, or somewhere last week, and then it just dripped. I'm like, man, I can't believe my community set me up like that. Like, man, a bunch of degenerates. Anyways, yeah, this is so bad. Imagine what you could have done with $100,000 or $131,000, right? Again, this is nothing new. This happens all the time. And it's just so sad to see. This is why you got to be very careful. But you guys, I'm sure listening to this stream are prudent, smart investors, and you wouldn't do anything this ridiculous. All right. Let's get to some comments. I know I have to circle back and talk about Palantir and talk about Panama, but let's get some comments first. All right. So Wealthy Life says he has 15 shares of Palantir and 25, I think 200-ish, can't remember. That's why you buy the dip. Trump should do a moratorium on allowing instant zoning from commercial to residential. Honestly, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. But we'll see what happens. I don't think he has the authority to do something like that, especially for states. That would have to come from the state, in my opinion. I don't know for a fact. Those numbers are pathetic for how many living spaces we need. Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is not going to solve anything, or this is not going to solve the housing shortage, especially if we're only pumping out 3.7 thousand units in a full year, right? Again, every state is going to have different zoning laws and different requirements and different things like that. So this is not going to be an easy fight, right? For either REIT or real estate developers or real estate, investors to basically convert an office to a living space. It's just not going to happen. It's going to take a long time. I've seen them do it for schools, for not abandoned schools, but schools basically that aren't being used anymore. There was sometime in 2020, I want to say 2022, there was an investor, and he actually pretty notable guy. He became notable after this, but he basically bought a school for like a couple $1,000s, like I think $15,000, and he sunk 150,000 into it to convert it into living spaces. And these places looked super nice, like really nice. And I think he ended up selling that property for like a couple million. So like all in all, he made a huge profit. Let me see if I can find that article. Investor turns school into apartments. Yeah, this is it right here. I'm pretty sure this is it right here. Yeah, and this is really cool. I really like this. Yeah, so they spent 90,000 on an abandoned school and 4.5 million. Okay, never mind. My numbers were way off. 4.5 million to convert it into apartments. Um, but yeah, like they completely renovated the whole school. Like they gutted it out and made it like super nice, really livable. Shoot, these are better than places I live in. But yeah, I thought this was cool. But again, this was not easy. It took them a long time to get this done. But yeah, the whole zoning thing, like this is what's really going to hold up converting these spaces, because they already have everything. They already have all the water. They have all the plumbing. Everything's already in there. And some of these, unit, they'll probably go with like electric stoves, versus having gas stoves. So again, I mean, you just like everything's already plugged up. They just have to convert, change the layouts. But yeah, it's just going to take some time. So, yeah, let's take a look at Palantir. Actually, let's talk about Panama real quick, because Gbro, no, who brought Palantir, or who bought Panama up? Was it PMI? Um, yeah, PMI brought up Panama. So real quick, I mean, let's hop into it. Let's hop into it. Panama. Um, what's up, Aloha? Hey, welcome back. What does it cost for a nice 1 bedroom in Bangkok? It's very cheap. Like I think you could get one for like $400, even cheaper than that, depending where you live. But these places, they have like a really bad rep, and they call them like shoebox apartments because they're very small. Like you're not going to be getting like a huge floor plan. You'll be getting probably like 45 square meters for the entire apartment. But I don't know. Like if I wasn't obvious, if I was single and I just wanted to live my best life, I'd be living in a shoebox apartment. Because I mean, what are you in there for? You're really in there just to sleep. You're not in there to like do Pilates or exercise or anything. You're in there. You'll probably cook, maybe. But if you're a bachelor living in Bangkok, I mean, food outside is like $1, $2, right? You're not going to be spending all that much time there. I get some people would love to have like a desk space, which is me. Like I'm that guy. So I would definitely look for like a place that at least can give me a decent desk space to set up. Yeah, I'm pretty big on that. So the whole Panama news, there was some really crazy news that came out about Panama. So real quick, and this is this is not gonna be finance related. This is going to be more geopolitical. But yeah, basically Panama, they have the Panama Canal, as you guys know, and the U.S. has been really worried about all this Chinese investment into the Panama Canal. And then come to find out, the Panama Canal is part of, or the Panama, the country, is part of the what is it, One Belt, One Road alliance that China's been building out. And basically the whole covert operation that they have for that is basically China will go into these countries, help them build up their infrastructure, and then charge them a bill for it, right? Basically, and they know these countries can't pay them back, so they're going to very like poor countries, and then building up all their infrastructure, doing all this nice stuff for them, and then giving them a bill that they could pay off for the next 100 years or so, right? But these countries can't afford it, so they basically become debtors to China. So the Panama Canal, it was a huge surprise to the U.S. government to find out that Panama was actually a part of that as well, and that there's a lot of Chinese investment in Panama. And basically what happened was that the Panama Canal is supposed to be this neutral zone, right? The United States gave it back to Panama under a couple of conditions. One being that it remains neutral and that, it's not, I guess, being taken advantage of by a U.S. adversary. That was part of the treaty or something. Come to find out, Panama is basically under the control now of the U.S. Of Chinese influence, and this caused a problem. This caused a rift in the United States because this is a big deal, especially on a security level. If the United States needs to get warships to the West Coast, from the East Coast, they can't do it. It's going to take even longer. They're going to have to go all the way around, right? That's if they shut the Panama Canal down, right, to the U.S. Navy or something. But also, what that also happens, or what that also affects, is the U.S. exports, shipping, right? Shipping containers, all that stuff. It all goes through the Panama Canal. And if they were able to cut that off, that would put a huge amount of pressure on the U.S. economy because we basically ship a lot of stuff. It is cheaper to ship things than it is to fly things, right? And you could ship more product out via, these big shipping container ships versus an airplane. So that's what the big news was about Panama. And basically, the U.S. government just, one way or another, they basically threatened Panama somehow, some way, and said, if you guys don't come back to the good side, there's going to be repercussions. And I'm guessing Panama finally was like, okay, you know what? We're going to exit the Silk Road Initiative, or the, one Belt, One Road Initiative, or whatever it's called now. We're going to exit that. But, now there's going to be this funny thing of like, okay, how do we pay China? So I think the U.S. will probably front the debt, for the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is actually being handled primarily by Chinese companies, right? By Chinese companies, which obviously is not good for the United States. Should the United States enter some type of conflict where they need to, get ships over to the West Coast. So, yep. Okay. Wow, that was a lot, man. That was a lot. That was unexpected. Didn't really think I'd be covering the Panama Canal or geopolitics on this channel. So. Yeah, Jeff, they definitely got caught. They absolutely got caught. Let's take a look at Palantir real quick. I know Palantir earnings came out, so let's look at the stock first, and then we'll look at their earnings. So, yep, we saw that massive spike. Wait, is this it? Yeah, Palantir Technologies. Yeah, look at that. That's going to be crazy. I didn't have a chance to really dive too much into Palantir. To take a look at how the stock's been, or how the company's been performing. I mean, it's one of the PayPal 5 or something. Like PayPal 5 was Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel runs Palantir. And there's excuse me, and there's like a couple other people that ran PayPal, very notable people as well. But I forget their other names. But Elon Musk is one of them. Peter Thiel is the other, and obviously Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, way up there, running multi-billion-dollar companies. So, but yeah, Palantir, let's look at their earnings. Yeah, they smashed it. Yeah, sorry guys, I know this is weird. It's because I'm in Thailand, so please excuse this, but this is 2024. No, 2004. 2024. This was 68. This would be 2025. So, yeah, it looks like they absolutely smashed it. So that's awesome. Yeah, that no surprise there. Yeah, software platforms for big data analytics. Yeah, they lease a lot of their software out to the big alphabet agencies. FBI, CIA, DIA, a lot of the DoD as well. So Palantir is a little bit of everywhere. There's another company that's been I'm not gonna say been making waves, but they're also being utilized a lot more, and that's Nutanix. I think you might know about them, Dan. I'm not sure, but Nutanix is another one. They're a hardware provider, a cloud computing company that sells software for data centers and hybrid multi-cloud deployments. Yeah, so they've also been killing it as well. So it's not one I follow or really keep track of, but in case you wanted to ever just take a look into it, Nutanix is a pretty neat pretty neat software slash, you know, company, hardware company. So Jeff Wells says, just tell China just to add it to our bill. Yeah, for real. We'll just print more money. That's it. We're just gonna print more money, guys. Don't worry about it. That's what we do. Don't we'll pick up the bill. Don't worry. We'll just print out the money. It's headed to a 1 trillion market cap. Really? Palantir? What's a 190 billion? Yeah. Yeah, and they've been on a tear. Like over the last 5 years, they've been on a huge tear. Absolutely. You know, it's and again, this is always one of the stories, right? This is how it always starts. I had a chance to buy Palantir way down here. A friend of mine, I think he bought somewhere around here, like somewhere around here. I want to say it was like I want to say it was even before October, or in October. But he was telling me about it. He's like, dude, you gotta get in on Palantir. And this was right around or after GameStop, if I remember correctly. I think it was right around or after GameStop, something like that, or before GameStop. When does GameStop happen? Anyways, something happened. Maybe it was a crypto coin. And I told my friend, bro, I'm not listening to you anymore. Like, I already lost enough money trusting you. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. But anyways, he bought a ton of Palantir. I think he put in like $15,000 or $20,000 when it was like when the share price was really, really down. So I know he's probably sitting pretty right now. Him, he also had, along with Palantir, he has a ton of Bitcoin, like a ton of Bitcoin. And he's been doing nothing but buying Palantir, Bitcoin, and, you know, like a simple index fund, right? He really goes heavy into his investing. And yeah, I know, I don't even know why this dude works. I really don't. Like this dude, I think he had like over $500,000 worth of Bitcoin when Bitcoin was at its height in like before the interest rate spikes in 2021, right? And then he just kept dollar cost averaging. He just kept putting money into it, and like I'm sure he's doing really well. We didn't cover Bitcoin today, so let's see. Yeah, probably the same thing. You know, the whole tariff thing, and then it looks like it like spiked back up. So yeah, that's there. Yeah, so I think he had like 400,000 or 500,000 around this time, and then it went down. He just kept buying, and then yeah, I'm sure he's well off by now. Jeff Wells says, yeah, but dragging feet on adding more Palantir. It's up 278% as of today. That's crazy. That is crazy. So It's a Wealthy Life says, I bought 3 days after IPO, profited, and then bought back in. That's wild. You guys want to see how cheap it is to actually live in Bangkok? I mean, we're pretty much almost at the top of the hour here. I'll show you guys. Let's see, Airbnb. All right, let's take a look at some places. Maybe I can convince you guys to come out here. So we'll look at Bangkok, Thailand. I don't know. We'll just do this to this, and we'll hit search. This is in freaking bot. We need USD. We need that USD, bro. Give me that USD. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, let's look at. I don't know. Let's look at this one right here. This one isn't too far out. Oh, there should be way more. Okay, so this is like in Bangkok proper. Look, $190. You see that? Let's see what that looks like. Holy hell. I wouldn't live there. Look at this for $500. This looks pretty decent. And I mean, again, like you're not gonna really be like living or cooking here. And this is if you're this is awesome if you're like a bachelor, right? If you're a bachelor that lives here in the city and you're just really there to live, yeah, this wouldn't be too bad. There's luxury condos that are for this price. Let's look at this apartment in Ket Bang Lo Lam. I don't know. $776 a month. Yeah, I mean, shoot, again, not bad. This is nice. This is nice. You get a full window of your bedroom. So hopefully you're the only one living there, so you're not seeing anyone. Comes with a full pool, like really nice. I mean, look at the grounds too. Yeah, this is like a very nice not hotel, but a very nice condo. I love this scene. Like I always pictured myself. I haven't posted. I don't think I ever posted a video about the condo I live in. But I have a scene like this, and I always kept in the back of my mind that I always wanted to have a cigar right here, or a cigar like in a place like this, because I love like the peace and tranquility of this. And they put a lot of work into like having nature as part of the building design. So like these buildings are always super nice. It comes with a gym. It looks like a little coffee area. They give you a washer. That's pretty neat. That's awesome. So again, all of this for what? $782 a month. A month. Like that's crazy. Uh yeah, Jeff, absolutely. I love living here in Bangkok. Like Bangkok is I love living here in Thailand, period. The cost of living is so low. The Thai people are very kind, very nice, very sweet. Um, the expat community, like it's a melting pot for sure. Some areas are better than others, as goes with anywhere. But I will say it is very cheap to live here, and I could see why so many people like want to retire here. I've met so many people who have retired and they live here, and then I also met a lot of people who are like digital nomads. So they have online businesses and they make enough money to live out here. And I could see all of that. Like you can live out here by yourself for like $2,000. That includes your internet, your apartment. That includes living expenses, as long as you're not going to the bars every single night or partying your butt off. Like you could live off $2,000 very comfortably. Um, so absolutely, it's very very cheap here. I moved here because I basically quit my job some time ago. So I quit my job. Um, so I quit my job in last year August timeframe. So I quit my job and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going home, and I was like, I want to go to Thailand. Like I have my wife out here. In case you guys didn't know, I'm married. So I have my wife out here. So Thailand is just I've been coming here since 2019, and I could not go anywhere else in the world. I didn't want to go anywhere else in the world. I could have went to Europe. I could have did that whole thing, saw UK, saw freaking Italy, saw that. I just didn't care enough to go to those places. Once I discovered Thailand, I was like, this is it. This is where I want to be. I didn't want to go to South Korea. I didn't want to go to Japan. I should have. The farthest past Thailand that I've been is the Philippines, but I didn't really get to actually explore the Philippines. I wish I did, but again, I was only there for a little bit of time. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just don't want to go anywhere else. Like it's super nice here. Will I rotate back to the States? I probably will at some point. I just don't want to rotate now. I'm trying to just kind of enjoy myself while I'm out here. It's a wealthy light says when Tesla hits 5,000 a share, I'll meet you there in my yacht. Bro, let me know. Pick me up in the private jet, all right, and the helicopter. Pick me up in the private jet and the helicopter. Danos, hey, welcome, welcome. No, not Vietnam. We're talking about Thailand. So we're just kind of talking about some really cheap living areas. So I'm just kind of showing you guys kind of what the costs are. And this is the rent per month, right? This is off Airbnb. You can find things way cheaper than this if you rent directly through a realtor. But this is Airbnb. Um, yeah, it looks like they really packed up a lot of places. This might be high season or something. Yeah, 1,400 a month, and this is a two-bedroom. Yeah, so this again. Oh, this is the same building we just looked at. All right, never mind. Um, if you want to even live by the beach, That's even better because there's places outside of Bangkok called Jom Tien. It's next to Pattaya. And Jom Tien, you get like the full living by the beach vibe. Like it's really nice and for pretty cost effective amounts of money. So if you want to lower your expenses and invest more, then this is one way to do it, right? Let's look at one. Let's look at this one. Yeah, so you're basically living like in a hotel almost. Yeah, again, it's not. This isn't going to be like the most luxury. This looks like an older building, but you're not too far from like the nightlife, which is nice, or the night market. Dano says, I saw a video of Elio del Nest condo. Oh, okay. There's a YouTuber, and I'm featured in one of his videos, but there's a YouTuber called Isaiah Ashley. I mean, I don't know if you came from his channel or not. You probably did. I don't know if you did or didn't. But yeah, Isaiah Ashley, he runs a YouTube video where or a YouTube channel where he's basically talking about living life in Thailand. He does a lot of condo tours and he talks a lot about like, expenses and things like that. And he interviews a lot of different people living in Thailand. So yeah, if you guys want a good kind of like a good channel to look at that stuff, I definitely recommend his channel. So Jeff Welch asks, I would do half the year there when I retire. I want to spend the summers where I live, but find somewhere warm for the winters. Absolutely. And the wintertime here in Thailand, absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's very cool. It's very nice. It's very chill. Like it's not overblown heat. I will say though, like up until December, weather is gorgeous. Like from like probably like I want to say November, maybe even a little earlier. Let's see, October to December. Like the weather is super nice. You'll sweat still, but it is nice. The summers can get a little humid and a little brutal, but coming from the Middle East, I mean, I'll take humidity. I will take clean air. I'll take greenery around me. But the problem is from January to like probably April is the burning season. So a lot of the farmers burn their crops or burn the farmland. So all that stuff goes into the air. And it's not just Thailand. It's Vietnam, Laos. It's everyone. India even does the same thing. So everyone's burning their stuff. And it's just like the air quality is horrible right now, like very, very bad. So I walk outside with a mask all the time because, I don't want to smoke 10 cigarettes, walk into the store. So, so Dano says, I did, and I saw a different video from someone else. I would stay there as a hub and travel around Singapore, Vietnam, and Bali or Bai Malay. Yeah, that's actually, I just met somebody last night who's using Bangkok as their home, like their HQ. And then they just hop to like the Philippines, they'll hop to Laos, they'll hop to Singapore, they'll hop to Bali, they'll hop to Vietnam. And there's a lot of people who, they have to do that anyways because of the visa and the way it works. You only get like 30 or 60 days. So they'll leave the country, go hop over to a new country and then come back and then just stay another 60 days. Although they're cracking down on that, not going to lie. The Thai authorities are cracking down on that because they don't want people abusing it. So we'll see what happens. But me, I'm not on that type of visa, so lucky me. Yeah, we totally went. I hope you guys really enjoyed this segment. This was interesting to see. Like all this was interesting. The Panama piece I thought was really interesting. Not gonna lie, that Panama piece when I started reading into that, I was like, holy crap. Like, man, that is wild. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think I'll keep this as like a regular segment. We'll just look at one lost corn every other day or something. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this segment. It's at the top of the hour, guys. I have to get going. I have a hard stop today. I have to go visit a couple buildings over here. But is there anything I can help you guys with before I take off? Any other questions? Last second questions? All right. Well, I'm going to take that as probably a no. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a great night. All right. Thank you for joining the stream as always. You guys make this stream absolutely possible. And I enjoy doing the streams with you guys. All right. So again, you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys in the next stream. So take care.